Is Friday the 13th just another day, or is it hiding something sinister? Let's uncover the chilling truth behind this cursed date, right now. Imagine waking up to the sound of silence. An eerie stillness creeps down your spine. You check the date, and there it is, Friday the 13th. Coincidence, or something more sinister? I'm your host, John Taylor, and today we're diving deep into one of the most feared days on the calendar, Friday the 13th, and uncovering the truth behind the superstition. Is it just a myth, or are we tempting fate every time this date rolls around? Before you start avoiding black cats and hiding under your bed, let's take a journey back to where this all began. Friday the 13th, two elements that, when combined, seem to cast a shadow of bad luck. But why? Let's start with the number 13. Throughout history, it's been viewed as, well, kind of an outcast. In many cultures, the number 12 is seen as complete. Think about it. There are 12 months in a year, 12 zodiac signs, 12 apostles. But then you add one more, and suddenly it feels off. 13, by contrast, feels unfinished, unbalanced. Ancient Greeks and Romans associated the number with chaos and disorder. It's also connected with some infamous dinner guests. In Norse mythology, the god Loki was the 13th to arrive at a feast in Valhalla, where he tricked another attendee into killing the god Baldur. In Christianity, Judas, the apostle who betrayed Jesus, was the 13th guest at the Last Supper. So already, 13 has a bad rap. And then there's Friday. Most of us love Fridays now. It's the start of the weekend, right? But historically, it was considered an unlucky day. According to Christian tradition, Jesus was crucified on a Friday. That's where it starts to gain its reputation as a day of ill omen. So, when you combine an unlucky number like 13 with an already unlucky day like Friday, you get a recipe for superstition. But where did the real fear come from? Why does this combination of day and number send shivers down so many people's spines? For that, we need to jump to the beginning of the 20th century. It wasn't until the early 1900s that Friday the 13th really took off as a symbol of bad luck. In 1907, an author named Thomas Lawson wrote a book titled Friday the 13th. In it, a shady stockbroker exploits people's fear of the date to wreak havoc on Wall Street. The book struck a chord, and the idea of Friday the 13th being an unlucky day started to cement itself in popular culture. But that's not all. The fear became so ingrained that some people took it very seriously. And when I say seriously, I mean airlines would avoid having row 13 on planes, and some skyscrapers. Well, they'd just skip the 13th floor entirely. Spooky, right? So why do we fear it? Is it because of these historical and modern-day superstitions, or is it something deeper? Psychologists say it's all about something called confirmation bias. When bad things happen on Friday the 13th, we remember them. We want to believe that there's something more going on. It's human nature to connect the dots, even if the picture we're drawing is completely in our minds. But hey, maybe that's part of the fun, right? Maybe there's a thrill in believing that for just one day, one mysterious, shadowy day, fate is out to get us. But there's more to this story, and it's not just about numbers and dates. One of the most intriguing events that cemented Friday the 13th's reputation as a day of bad luck was the arrest of the Knights Templar. On October 13th, 1307, a Friday, French King Philip IV ordered the arrest of hundreds of Templars. Accused of heresy and other serious crimes, many of these powerful knights faced brutal torture and execution. This sudden crackdown on such a formidable order on Friday the 13th sent shockwaves through medieval Europe. The downfall of the Templars, combined with the date, seemed to solidify the day's sinister reputation. And it didn't stop there. Over the last several decades, Friday the 13th has seen its fair share of real-life misfortunes. From the tragic crash of Air Force Flight 571 in 1972, to the Costa Concordia disaster in 2012, both occurring on Friday the 13th, these events have only fueled the fear surrounding this date. And let's not forget the chilling murder of rapper Tupac, which also happened on a Friday the 13th. These real-life tragedies occurring on this so-called cursed day seem almost too coincidental to ignore. They add a layer of credibility to the belief that Friday the 13th is a day marked by misfortune. Whether you believe in the superstition or not, Friday the 13th is a fascinating example of how a simple combination of a number and a day of the week can create a legacy of fear. Are we creating our own bad luck by giving the day power? Or is there something lurking beneath the surface of this so-called cursed day? Who knows? But the next time Friday the 13th rolls around, you might just think twice before stepping on that crack in the sidewalk. Stay safe, stay curious, and maybe avoid breaking any mirrors today. What do you think? Is Friday the 13th just a myth, or is there more to it? Comment below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for more mysterious deep dives.